Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Barn Session Podcast. If you'll notice, we're in a different space now. We're in the barn. Right? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah?
That's right. The barn.
We're in the barn. This is where
The namesake.
we would have barn sessions where we would train and get better at wrestling and
And
get
where I would torture them.
stuffed into sleeping bags and swung around and taped to ropes upside down and fall from high shelves and a bunch of other things. We got a lot of stories and we can talk about them eventually, but we got some wrestling we got to talk about.
What shelves did you fall from?
The wooden ones that had like that ladder.
Yeah, and it had the net because we had baseball cages out here.
Yep.
And when we'd have the baseball cages, the nets all pushed back. You could fall off the shelf and into the net.
Mm.
It wasn't like a good thing to do, but it was
Wasn't
like
safe.
it was like for safety. I definitely fell into it one time.
I've
Like,
never
on
done this.
accident.
This never happened to me. I never saw anyone ever fall into it.
Dude, it used to be. You remember how it was
I remember
like
the nets.
it was like a. But you remember how the shelves? You had like a nook back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
It
course.
was
I remember
awesome.
It was
that.
sick.
Yes. It was our clubhouse
It
kind
was-
of thing.
It was
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
I do remember the nook.
Yeah. But before we get to that, like I said, we want to talk about all sorts of barn-related stories. We had some wrestling this weekend that we want to talk about. Where do you guys want to start?
How about PSU just absolutely dominating everyone?
Right.
Once
So
again.
they.
I mean, how many matches total did they lose?
That's one. I think it was just one. Pretty sure.
Just one
Pretty
match.
sure it was Keegan
Singular
O'Toole.
match.
Was it?
Levi Haynes. He's the only one that lost a match.
And it-
Yeah, he sucks,
And it took everything Keegan O'Toole had.
In-
A two-time NCAA champ.
including
Yes.
a little bit of controversy.
Oh my goodness, they're
So.
that good.
Well, so I got a question.
Okay.
So they normally do like pools and then placement, like a finals.
I
Did they
don't-
not do that this
I don't
year?
think they had enough numbers. They had six.
Oh.
They had 6 teams.
They haven't done that the past couple of.
They did
years.
it.
The
Last
last
year?
2
They
years they
did do it?
didn't do it. The
No,
last
I was
2
gonna
years.
Really?
say, I don't think they did it last year
No,
either.
the last 2 years they
Oh.
didn't.
That sucks.
I think there's just not enough participation. And I guess I didn't watch much of the
'Cause
stream.
everyone's scared of Penn State.
Could be.
Maybe, but like I didn't watch much of the stream, and but apparently Rockfin had to like send out an issue or a statement
Or
regarding,
Journeyman did.
or Journeyman about the quality of the stream and something related to Rockfin. I guess
I don't know. I had
I
no
don't-
problems using it
I
whatsoever.
know. So I'll do some research into that maybe, but yeah, Penn State, they lost one match. They went 29-1 over the weekend. They beat Missouri, Little Rock, and Binghamton.
Yes.
And their only loss was Levi Haynes losing to Keegan O'Toole in overtime. So
And if you believe that Yanni beat Joey McKenna with that takedown, then you believe that Levi Haynes also should have gotten that takedown.
I don't think those are the same, but I do think I rewatched the clip with Yanni and Joey, and holy shit, dude, was that like
Really quick.
a really quick takedown call.
yeah,
And he only had one boot in too, which is
he didn't have a
he
far boot.
No, he threw the far one in. He gets the far one in.
he gets the far one in. That's it though. He doesn't
No,
get the other
the
one.
side.
The other one.
When
actually-
I saw it, he did not have.
Oh, maybe he didn't.
He had the far one in,
Yeah.
but not the other one.
I don't
But
know. I
was
think
also he was also a lot lower on the hips.
than
than Levi
yes,
was.
yeah,
that's
Levi
what I
was
thinking.
high. Yeah, Levi. I mean, Levi is
That is the one
like
big
ankles were in
difference
his armpits basically.
that I saw. Yeah.
So maybe that's the reason. But also you have different refs who interpret the rules differently and years apart between the matches. So, yeah, it's a tough one, right? I also feel like wasn't there a lot going on in that Yanni match where it was like McKenna's getting a lot of breaks, or was he screwed?
Dude,
Kind
I
of.
have no idea. I
don't
do not
remember
remember
either.
anything about that.
I just
match.
remember being very nervous.
Well, he got it, and then he got it in overtime too.
Yeah, I mean the overtime takedown was a lot more solid for sure.
Yeah.
It was cool too.
It was clutch.
Totally Yanni.
Yeah, so I guess to fully fill out that match, lot of positions that Keegan and Haynes ended up in, and a lot of scrambles. And it didn't seem like either of them are really that close to scoring until the final scramble in overtime. But
I would say there was an opportunity. I thought where Levi, was going to score.
was it near the out of bounds line?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're a Keegan O'Toole fan, it probably should give you a lot more confidence after what happened at the non-Olympic World Team Trials that Keegan O'Toole clearly has what it takes to beat a guy like Levi Haynes, and now I'm excited for this weight and the top three guys. Dean Hamady, Keegan O'Toole, and Levi Haynes. I think that's your best top three trio right there.
For sure.
It just
most
feels
competitive.
like DJ is not gonna. He's just gonna.
The video froze a little bit, so we just finished talking about Penn State. They look good. Keegan O'Toole looks good for Missouri.
Iowa State, they look good
Iowa
coming
State-
up.
Yes, Iowa State looks good with Chittum and at 57, and maybe Panero Johnson at 65, and
Ohio State also dominated this weekend.
did they beat it? Did they beat Iowa State?
Yeah, they beat everyone.
Damn. Really?
Did I stutter?
What was their score against Iowa State?
I think it was like 27-14.
What were the other two teams?
Lock Haven. I'm drawing a blank.
Damn.
No idea. Did you say Little Rock?
Little Rock was in the other
The
pool.
other pool.
Oh.
Iowa State, Ohio State, Lock
Was NC
Haven.
State there this year?
No.
No.
Shit. Who was it?
Give me my phone.
Okay. But I like that Ryan mentioned, or I like that Reese mentioned NC State. They wrestled Cornell up in Ithaca. They won 18-17.
AI is out of control. Sorry. Continue.
No, that's a good segue. Let's.
Did you find Grok on Twitter?
No. I saw something that I wish I did not see.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Cornell wrestled. Meyer Shapiro is back. He beat Ed Scott. He stalled him out. He was up 16-3 or something like that when he stalled him out. He hit one of the craziest takedowns, and he did this thing to Brock Mahler last year in like the same duel, but Missouri instead of NC State. But Shapiro's back. Julian Ramirez was back in the duel, or back in the lineup. Chris Foca's back in the lineup. Brett Unger wasn't wrestling, and this was actually kind of where they lost the duel because they're back up 130.
Uh-oh.
Go turn that off.
I hope we can't hear that.
Let me turn it off.
You're gonna turn it off. So Cornell's back up 133 pounder. Got pinned against Kai Arene at 133. Wait, Arini. So Arini's gonna move down to 133.
Oregon State was the fourth team.
Oregon State was the other team.
No, I lied.
No, that's right.
No,
no,
they were
it's
at
not.
Reno. They were at Reno.
So what was the fourth?
I don't know. I can't find it. I'm looking.
Give me a color so that I can.
I have nothing for you right now.
Okay. But yeah, Cornell, NC State, both teams looked
North
good.
Carolina. Got it.
Oh yeah, UNC. That's right. Yeah.
Cade Lott.
Cade Lout wrestled. Shout out Kansas. His name should be up on that board of state champions over there, but we haven't updated that.
updated that since 2014.
So it's a little. It's
Well,
a
that
decade
just
behind.
tells you all you need to know.
Who the heck is Matt Pratt?
Wow, he nailed that.
Good job. Are you proud of yourself? You happy? You happy with what you've done?
Yeah. Felt good.
Yeah. So there were some good duels this weekend, but that's not what the people want to know about. Ryan, what do the people want to know about?
You want to tell them some barn
They want
stories
some.
yet?
They want some barn
Well,
stories.
So are we not going to talk? Is there anything coming up? I guess not. Or Midlands? Or
Midlands
Soldier
and
Salute.
Soldier Salute.
Is the
and
scuffle,
Scuffle.
still a thing?
Scuffle's still a thing, but I think it's a week later, maybe.
It's after the new year.
No, that's not important, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I have no idea what Midlands looks like this year, and
I didn't even know it existed still.
so with the Soldier,
Yeah, I said it.
why?
Why wouldn't I?
Because it's been a thing the whole time. Well, I guess there was that one year where the Illinois Mat Men Invitational took over for a year.
Yeah, I had to.
Okay. So I got questions about the Soldier Salute, Iowa man.
All right.
Are there any lineup questions that are going to be answered for Iowa?
I don't know.
Patrick Kennedy, Nelson Brands.
I mean, I think it's going to be Patrick Kennedy. And I also think it's going to be Gabe Arnold.
No, not Ferrari.
No.
Okay.
I think Ferrari's going to wrestle this week.
What do you think? What am
But
I
I don't think
supposed
he's
to be
going to start
thinking?
this year. I think they're going to redshirt Ferrari.
Ferrari?
Yeah.
Oh, Angelo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
I mean, why
redshirt?
are you? He's gonna redshirt. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Right.
a pretty standard
The-
Iowa thing to do.
There was questions amongst the people about.
You got to be Spencer Lee if you don't want to redshirt your freshman year.
Or Abe Assad.
Or Abe Assad, where where you're necessary for a team title.
That gate's canceled.
Like it's canceled.
Is that like the only people in recent history who have just gone straight through?
I don't know of anybody who's just started their true freshman year.
Interesting.
Do you?
No.
Wow. Iowa, keeping it simple.
They like the red shirt.
Interesting. Yeah. So both those events will be coming up. So keep an eye out for them. I don't know who's going to be attending. Really, either honestly.
Drake Ayala also went right away, but he had to replace Spencer Lee.
Yeah, and then he redshirted. I don't know why I keep grabbing you, but
Yeah. Why don't you grab me?
Makes me tense.
but with this in mind, did we talk about Ferrari wrestling again? He's back on the mat.
He'll probably. Oh,
AJ.
AJ.
Okay, he's back on the mat, so we're not worried about him just like quitting wrestling again, which is cool.
Well, I wasn't worried.
Oh yeah, they beat Michigan State. We talked about
State.
that. We talked about
We
that.
already talked about that.
Okay, cool. So, who wants to go first here amongst the barn stories?
I didn't know we
where
were
do you
like
even
we're just gonna.
What
where
are
do
the
you start?
parameters?
What?
What are the parameters?
Yeah.
What are the parameters?
Obviously, we're keeping it appropriate.
We're
okay.
a family-friendly podcast, brother.
Family friendly. PG-13.
Because I've definitely done some rated R stuff in this barn before.
Mop the mat with some faces.
Mm-hmm.
No, we'll keep it wrestling.
Wrestling oriented.
No, it can be barn oriented because I have some things. Yeah, this is for the people that don't know. This is where we grew up and trained. This is in the backyard of our childhood house. The first thing that started going on here was it perler practice
No.
every Wednesday.
Nope.
Schoolboy
It's-
duels camp.
Nope. Started with Tom Peterman would come out here,
Oh yeah.
and it was like me and Zach Atchison, Cole Cannon, pretty much were like the main three guys. Todd would come around.
Okay.
Atchison, he would come around here and there, and yeah. Then it, yeah. I mean, we did like East Kansas practices in here for a little while too with Aiken and Tony Perler ran practices in here for years.
It was great. If you ever wanted to miss practice, there was zero possibility of you missing practice.
You had to be there because it was in your backyard.
It was in
There's
your backyard.
no
You could have-
excuse.
I mean, friends over, it doesn't matter. You're going to practice,
Yeah.
and your friend is going to just
Sit
wait
there.
for you.
Yeah.
Did that happen to you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that happened to you.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It happened to
Probably
all of us.
happened
I
to Ryan.
thought.
Yeah. Dad shipped me out. I didn't ever have friends over, so that was whatever. Dad
Yeah.
shipped me out here on my birthday.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. No, you were busy. You were always busy traveling the country during the summer.
Well, I've definitely probably been out here on my birthday before.
Okay.
On Flag Day?
On Flag Day.
Flag Day.
Damn.
No, you just doxed me. I can't believe you did that, Reese.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
The
Nobody
thing,
knows.
the thing that I remember the most is definitely the perler practices, and in particular, I guess maybe I shouldn't say their names. I shouldn't say names,
Throw
right?
the names out.
You throw their names
It was
out.
the Hood brothers.
Austin and Cullen Hood.
Austin and Cullen Hood.
Stuffed this man. I mean, this man is a giant, right? But when he was a kid, he was just a giant baby.
I was a kid. Yeah. So they stuffed me into a sleeping bag. This is one instance. This is one thing that they've ever done. They found a sleeping bag, and they
God,
were like,
love torturing
they
you.
were like, Sammy, it'd be really funny if you just put your body in this and acted like you were sleeping. And I was like, I don't get how it'd be funny, but I want to impress the older kids, so I'll do it. And so I did it, and then they like picked up the head side, and so I like slid in, and then they closed up the head side, and so I was stuck in there, and they just started swinging me around.
Freaking out.
And I am extremely claustrophobic, so that they eventually let me out. And then here's the other thing, right? It wasn't like there were a lot of parents, and this was obviously
That was a day that
This
Sammy was able to skip practice,
was like-
even though it was right there in his backyard.
was this like 2008 time? Somewhere
No,
around there?
it was before that. I wasn't in high school yet.
So 2007, 2006.
Maybe even before that.
So I was like 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
So it was back then. So I mean, maybe it was a different time.
He
But
was
like there were
young.
parents there, and they were just watching it
But
happen.
as a 6-year-old, you were just as big as those kids. So
I was probably still smaller.
I mean, you were smaller, but you were just as tall as them.
Oh sure. And maybe that's why they did it. They felt intimidated. But they eventually let me out, and I was
No,
cr-
they did it because your
they're gingers.
reaction
I
was
was-
hilarious.
I was covered in tears, and maybe I soiled myself a little bit. I don't know. And
You
I
ran
ran
back
over.
inside.
I took my shoes off, and I ran inside, and I hid in the basement. And eventually, Dad came and he said, "Why isn't Sammy at practice?" And then
And Tony told him why.
Tony told him why, and
I didn't know that you missed practice after that. I didn't realize that happened.
Yeah.
I think he tried to get me to come back out, but I said I am not going back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was probably
Impressive.
Honestly,
no, Dad understood too. Dad
the best thing that I should have done was sucked it up, stopped crying, and then just kept pressing at practice, because that would have stopped any like other harassments that continued after that.
That's big of you to say.
It was so funny though.
It-
God, it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, and they did a lot of other things. One time I came, one time I came to
LOL.
practice, and
Pause.
one time
I'm gonna come.
one time I was at practice again, young, and I had like face paint on because I think my elementary school was doing a fair thing.
Field day.
And so I had, I think it was a Jayhawk. I can't remember if it was like one of those stick-on tattoos or if it was,
No,
if
it
it
was
was like
a-
an artist doing face paint.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
But
that's what it was.
I
remember this.
still had it on my face, and yeah, I think either both of you guys or one of you and Mom was like, "Are you sure you want to wear that to wrestling practice?" And then one of you was like, "You're definitely gonna get harassed about it." And I did it anyway. And one of the Hood brothers looked at me and said, "Hey, Sammy." I said, "What?" And they said, "Rock Chalk Gay Hawk fuck KU," and then like started harassing me. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot.
Poor Sammy cried.
There was I think I probably cried after that. Yeah.
No, you did.
I was
100%.
like, KU's great.
You cried at everything back.
Yeah, I
in the day.
uh,
was a crier, man.
You cried when KU.
Stop.
Okay.
Basketball team.
Basketball
They
team.
were gonna lose, and then they won. So
They won and you cried.
You
I
cried
think,
whenever the
okay.
Giants beat the Patriots the year the Patriots were undefeated.
which is so crazy to me, because I don't even remember this happening. I believe you. You whether or not you're making it up, I believe you. But I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm not really a fan of football, and I don't know why I was a fan of the Patriots back then. But apparently, I cried whenever they lost in the finals.
we
in the
were
Super Bowl.
hyping it up that it was something that hadn't been done in a long time. That a team to go through to win every game and
Right, yeah,
one
yeah.
season.
Yeah.
And so you thought it was really cool. You were like, "Oh, I want to see this happen," and then it didn't happen, and that upset you.
Whatever.
And I made fun of you for it.
And yeah, so honestly, the thing that I remember the most out here is Tony Preller and his practices. But there was also a time when this wasn't just wrestling mats in a weight room. There was like a time where this lane was like a big batting cage. And we were like supposed to set something up or tear it down, and
Yeah. By the way, we weren't just wrestlers. We were
We're
multi-sport
yeah.
athletes.
you were.
Well, we all
Dude,
played.
we
I
used
was
several-
I was terrible at everything, including wrestling,
Yeah,
until
but
like
we were all multi-sport athletes.
I hated baseball.
I liked baseball more than wrestling, frankly.
I know you did. I always thought you were going to be a baseball player one day, Reese.
It's too small.
Is that a thing? I thought,
His hands were too small.
My hands were too small.
but then the glove. Was,
No, but it was came
And
with
I just
throwing.
didn't have the throw. I did not have a good arm.
no. Okay.
But I played catcher, and I played catcher well. All right, and I played second baseman, and I was pretty good at second base too. Anyway,
No, okay, so I think it was, I can't remember if it was the Hensleys or if it was Tanner, but somebody was out here with us, and they had the pitching machine, and they put that thing on high.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
Reese was on the other end.
it was the Lamars.
It was the
It was
Lamars?
the
Yeah, it
Lamars.
was.
Oh, it was the Lamars.
Ben.
So we had neighbors that lived down the street, and down the street is like half a mile away. And, fuck, hang on, I'll be right back. Finish the story.
and I was standing out in the middle of the kill zone. So unpleasant. I'm just glad that it hit me in the stomach. That's probably the best place it could have hit me. That or like the thigh.
I remember the noise afterwards because you just you
wanted
get
to-
hit and immediately you're just like making not like this necessarily like pain noise that you're in pain, but you're just like making
not-
sounds.
Probably not the thing that-
Dude, yeah, just like but like coming out of a kid and high pitched. And I was like, I think my brother's dead.
Yeah, I wanted to kill that kid after that, but I couldn't, obviously.
I think he immediately left as soon as that happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember him being not remorseful, and that just made me
Probably
like,
not.
I was just like, oh, I hate this kid.
Do you remember when we turned this into like a slip and slide?
No, we did that on multiple occasions.
Yeah,
We
I think Zach. I think the first time I ever did it was with Zach.
Yeah,
No.
I was there for that.
Yeah, I mean,
Did we?
So the first, well, no, you weren't there because it was.
Wasn't I?
It was on our way to. Well, he stayed at the house because we were getting ready to go up to Green Bay for the freestyle nationals.
Yeah.
I don't remember you being there.
I
Where were
must
you?
have already been up there.
Yeah, because you stayed for like a week, and I remember thinking like,
That's right. Cause
oh my god, this guy like,
that was the summer I stayed with Jesse.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's right.
But I remember when Mom and Dad were like, hey, Zach Hensley's gonna stay at the house, and I was like, I don't know this guy. Like, I don't know anything about this guy. And I remember when he showed up, I was playing on the GameCube. I was playing Star Fox on the GameCube.
Yes.
And he came down the basement, and I was like, oh my god, what do I say to this kid? Oh, no idea what to say to this kid. And I was like, you want to play? And he's like, no. And I was like, this is going to be a terrible week. And then, we ended up having a great time. We
And
sprayed
now he's one of our best friends.
Yeah, now he's a great guy. I mean, he's always a great guy, but, we got into some shit that week. Sprayed the fire extinguisher. We spray painted some what's the word I'm looking for here? Sammy expletive on the grass. And then we just like poured
I don't
cleaner
remember that.
all over the mats. And we swung on the ropes and slid around the mats.
That's what I was gonna ask. We slid around on cleaner.
That's right.
That's probably
That's how
terrible
you
for
always.
us.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
That's gotta be terrible for your skin though.
Cleans the mats,
It cleans you while you.
and it's fun.
Dude, that's
And we played baseball out here or whatever with wiffle bats and
Yeah, I've
wiffle
done that.
balls and
that was so much fun.
wall ball. I mean, we did it all out here.
Played dodgeball with the boxing gloves.
Yes, we
Yeah,
had these little mini
boxed.
boxing gloves, and we would
I
they
forgot about
form them
that.
into dodgeballs, and we would play dodgeball with. This was my form of like cutting weight.
Yeah.
Like we would come in here, I would crank the heat up to 99. I'd be in sweats, and I would just run around and pelt my brothers with these little boxing gloves.
Dude, you would.
Slash dodgeballs.
I remember when Reese and I, at a very young age, and we're doing what little kids do, what little kids used to do, which is come up with imaginary friends and do stuff with them, right? And then we would just like hear
Do
a
stuff
noise,
with the imaginary friends.
and we would just hear a noise, go on adventures with them. We would hear a noise come over from like the area behind the camera right now, which is like it's just tools and stuff and boxes and things, right? And we'd just hear a noise, and we'd be
Called
like,
the holding area.
we'd be like, what's that? Was that Ryan? Was Ryan over there? And then we wouldn't hear anything for a while, and then we'd continue doing on our adventure. And then a couple minutes later, we would look over, and it's like, that ball's rolling towards us. What's happening? And then he would jump out, and then he would like try and join, except for he would just torture us. So it was awful.
It wasn't always awful.
Mostly awful.
Mostly? You just remember the awful times
I
because
think-
they
I
stick
think
out the most.
mostly-
Well,
mostly
here's
I
what
just
I
have fear.
remember. I just remember, my adrenaline, my cortisol levels rising whenever you entered a room.
Yeah, like for the longest
Fight or
time.
flight.
For the longest time, that's what it was.
Ah.
Is he in a good mood? Is he in a bad mood? Are we about to? What's gonna happen?
Because I was cutting weight.
Literally like an animal.
Oh.
Like you're like, holy shit.
Es-
I was a child trying to grow, and I was cutting weight. It was
especially-
terrible.
Especially when he would come home and say, "Good news, guys," and we'd say, "What?" And he'd say, "Mom's not coming home. I'm in charge." And then we would have to just scatter in the house until he finds us and
Yeah, we played hide and seek.
does Big Brother torturing things.
Played hide and seek all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, so speaking of hide and seek, and speaking of the neighbors, another phase of this.
Man, I would just sneak in here and watch you guys play.
It was fun. I don't know if you had fun.
And then I had definitely had fun.
Just watching
you
us?
should have seen the shit-eating grin out of my face because I was just plotting how I was going to mess with you guys.
But
It was fun.
You said hide and seek, and one of the phases of the barn was no wrestling mats. It was just tables of stuff. I'm talking folding tables in lanes of it, all the way down. The whole thing.
Junk from storage units.
Storage units. And the neighbors would come over,
Samurai swords and shit.
and we would play hide and seek. But our extra factor to it was we would turn out the lights, so it was hide in the dark, hide and seek.
Hell yeah, dude! You're just unlocking so many memories.
So many memories.
I've forgotten about this stuff.
And so, I mean, sometimes it was just me and the two neighbors. Sometimes you were there. I don't know if you were ever in on this.
I never did this.
But we would.
I just remember seeing that and thinking, no, unacceptable. It's too much.
Dude.
I was on that trampoline. I don't remember it breaking.
But I think that the last year would have been my first year schoolboys.
Was it after that was St.
So
James?
many memories just flooded into my head from that night. Man, that was a good night for me.
Your party?
You're 15.
Yeah, heck yeah. That was a great night for me.
Somebody
Do
left their
tell.
sandals after that party, and they said Roxy on them, and I took them.
Yeah, those were probably girl sandals.
Well, absolutely. But I was like, they fit my feet. I will wear them.
All right.
As a child who scavenges must. So,
He's
yeah.
a forager.
Yeah, I remember just like looking out in the backyard, and there's just during the Schoolboy Duals prep camp, and there's just kids everywhere
Running around all
Yeah,
over the place.
And I was like, Mom, how do you feel about this? And she's like, I'm not looking at it. I was like, okay.
Mom hated it.
I was like, I know, I'm sorry.
Because the year before, we did like, it was just me, Parker Model, Bryce Hood, Sharky Slider. I don't think Chaz, because I think Chaz was a first-year cadet that year. Chaz Lawrence.
Daniel DeShazer, was he on that team? Or?
Yeah, but he wasn't.
Chase?
He wasn't with us though.
Oh, out here?
You just
Yeah.
talk about for this like prep.
Yeah, we just had our own like little thing that we did, because we went to that go kart place because it was like
Oh, I remember
because
this.
my birthday was on Flag Day, and then Sharky Slider's birthday was the next day. And so we went to that NASCAR place for like both our birthdays or whatever, but none of us could have cake because we were cutting weight, which is terrible. Do not let your children cut weight.
Wait, so when's Jesse's birthday? Is it that same day?
No.
Is it like a week later?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like you, Ryan, Sharky, or you, Sharky, Jesse?
No.
Okay, that would have been crazy.
Yeah, there are a lot of wrestling birthdays in June, I feel like.
Yeah.
Alex Daringer,
Tanner?
Tanner Model,
Frank Coakley?
obviously.
Cooper Coakley?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That was probably like one of the more hectic eras of this space.
Whatever, we were good that year too.
Yeah. There was that one year, how many X were here?
I beat Nico and Megaludis in a Grego match that year.
That's crazy.
Nico Megaludis.
What remember that time when we had the X here?
Yeah, when they stayed the night. I don't know why, but we TP'd the neighbors.
Oh yeah, yes. They stayed the night because of some wrestling.
What was that?
I think we were either going to
Quantonymous.
Didn't Doug take you guys to Dave and
he
Buster's?
took us to Dave and Buster's with.
Oh,
with
that was
Dylan and
awesome.
Zach.
Gave
Yeah,
us
I
the
didn't- yeah,
highest
Colton and I didn't
card,
go. I can't remember
the
why we
most-
didn't go.
the most expensive card you could get.
Yeah. I bet
And-
you were just like, oh my goodness.
I was
I
like,
was
how
like,
are we gonna
wow.
get through all these games?
This guy's way cooler than my dad.
He doesn't mean it,
No,
Dad.
It doesn't mean it at all.
Oh man, now Dad's gonna take your ass to Dave and Buster's. He's
He's
gonna hear
fine.
that and he's gonna go like, all right, Reese, we're going to Dave and Buster's.
He's gonna say
Let's
happy 30th, son. Let's go to D&B's. They're opening one in down where I live, whenever. So you can go to TG and D&B. How about that?
I don't know if I'm ever gonna get to come see you.
They're across the
again.
street. Why? Because I have to come first, right?
Yeah.
Same. Never mind.
Pause. Pause.
I think they were up here for it was either Freestone Greco State or Southern Plains.
It had to have been Southern Plains.
Yeah.
Why would they come this way? And then
I don't know.
And then we went to Hayes. Is that where it was?
I think maybe they were like training up here and then came down there, dude. And then we also had we would go to the Brawlers thing. I don't know what even was that? Was that just everybody gets out in the woods?
It was
and
like their club I don't know, what do you call that? At the end of the year party thing.
Right, yeah.
you
That
know?
was.
And we
yeah.
got invited to it, and that was sweet. Until I
Oh,
found
the
out
brawlers.
my iPod was dead because somebody decided to use it watching Family Guy.
I was young. I was young.
We set
I was
fire.
gonna strangle you with those headphones. I was.
But I was
Luckily,
also
Dad was there to protect you.
another situation where I'm kind of getting like tortured at this place a little bit.
I remember when we were in those tents and
Wah, Sammy. Sammy's a
Levi-
victim, if you guys don't know.
Levi Eck was prank calling girls like Elena Grantham and Bailey Steele.
That's funny.
That is
Do you remember that?
I do remember.
Yeah.
That, yes.
And then we set fire to those. I wasn't involved in
the
that.
the pack rats.
Pack rats.
They had to clear those
They were
out.
beating those things with baseball bats, dude. That
They
was
would-
hilarious.
They would set their holes on fire.
Their holes. Come on, man. They're huts.
They would
Huts.
set these pack rat huts on fire
They're
at,
like bushes.
at the bases of trees, and then the pack rats would just run out on fire or not on
like
fire.
flaming balls
And
of
then
pack
and then
rats.
there's about there's a pack of 12 children who all have sticks or bats and
Armed
just
with-
are
yes.
ready to just swing at the ground as soon as a rat runs by.
Was there no machete involved? I thought there was.
Probably. I don't remember. I just remember the flamethrower.
I remember them
I wanted to
catching a
use the
snake
flamethrower.
and just like repeat it. They could not kill the snake, dude. And that's what,
Dude, I remember
like
that.
forever in my mind, I'm like, wow, snakes are really hard to kill because they were just repeatedly stabbing the snake in the
I
head,
remember that.
and they finally just
Cut it off.
sawed that head right off, and that was
remember
it.
that.
Finally,
Wasn't that
I-
Colt Neck?
I think it was the kids. It was like, dude, do you remember Lonnie or Ronnie? I think is his name. I don't think he wrestled. I don't know. He was like a little bit younger than me, but he was a psycho. It was like I just remember him on that trip because I was like, this dude is insane and like a classic, like scary wrestling kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
And I
just
was always
unhinged.
terrified of those kind of people.
Do you remember when you, me, and Tanner found that possum in here?
Yes, and
We're not going to talk about
I
what
tell
happened.
people
I'm not
that
gonna talk
story
about what
all
happens.
the time
Why?
about
What's wrong
Tanner.
with that story?
Just cruel. It's just cruel.
I tell people all the time. I've told it like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, because I think it was amazing.
Tell it now, Reese.
So, Tanner basically just beat.
Dude, so okay.
Reese, give me
the
your version.
context is we knew that there was a possum somewhere around and it had been eating poison.
Yeah.
So this possum was like very
Going to die.
much like on the brink of death. Tanner picks it up. We
Euthanized it.
find it, and he picks it up, and the first thing he does is he hangs it by its tail and punts this possum, dude. He kicks it for 20 yards. And then he like, dude, and he's
Get some hang time.
so casual about it too.
good time.
He's not even like smiling or anything. He's just like straight face,
You
just
think
like
this is his first rodeo?
just picks up the tail, boom, against a tree. Just fucking sorry. He just smacks this thing against a tree like 2 or 3 times. And I'm like just beside myself. I'm like, what are you doing? And he won't even answer me. He's just like looking at this possum.
Sleeper agent he was just
unlocked and just like,
Yeah,
I have to
dude,
kill
just
this possum.
fully locked in. Finally, I was just pleading with him to stop, and he was like, "Okay." And we walk out to this pond, and he just like like a discus, dude, just spins around a couple times and flings it into the pond, and and then it surfaced and it kind of swam around in circles, a couple of circles, and then just dipped its head, and that was it. Finally, peacefully, it died after all of that.
So another possum related story is,
A deer model.
dude,
That was just his form of a euthanization.
we would go trapping because we would try and catch raccoons in our backyard.
Sammy would go trapping.
Yeah, well, we was me and Dad, and we caught a possum one time. Oh no, we needed the trap for the cage trap for a possum that keeps sneaking into the garage at the house, and so we set it up and we catch it. But then it had gotten out as we were like, I can't remember what we were doing. It got out, and Dad gets it by the tail, and he's like, "Get me the metal baseball bat." And then Mom's just like, "Oh no," and turns away and starts to walk back in the house. And before she can close the door, and like I'm walking back in with her,
Whack.
dude, it doesn't sound like a metal bat hitting a body. It sounds like a metal bat hitting a baseball out of the park.
That's so disturbing.
I think because he like had it by the tail, kind of threw it up in the air a little bit, and then just went yard. and mom like turns away dramatically, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't think this was gonna happen.
That's so funny.
Dude, yeah, we we had to take care of the rodents. So
We had an infestation. Remember the skunk infestation?
Remember the skunk that sprayed me?
Yeah, that was funny.
I was like, I was out at the trap way in the backyard, and I come back. I'm just like, there was a skunk. I don't think it sprayed me, but it does smell back there. And then I like walk in through the back door, and everybody immediately is like, get the fuck out of this house. And I'm just like, oh no. And so Dad has to take me to Lawrence to the auto exchange and like take the pressure sprayer and like just me. With like no clothes on.
No way. You're
no,
butt
I
naked?
had my underwear on. I had my underwear on. But like he was like gave me some toothpaste. I had to like lather my body in it because it removes scent super easily. And then he sprayed me down and then gave me cans of tomato and just was.
Dude, he just dumped cans of tomato on you?
No, he gave them to me and said he set them down on a table, said come here and get those, and then moved away because I smelled terrible.
You were so bad, dude.
The skunk never like turned to his butt and sprayed me. He was only ever looking at me and then I guess sprayed the air, and I was just close enough. Whatever. And so and then he like took my clothes. I don't know if I ever saw those clothes again or if he burned them or what, but
Dude, what a strange like defense mechanism.
Spraying?
Skunks, man. Like,
Yeah.
It's like I feel like not a lot of animals
Hilarious.
have that kind of thing going on.
great.
no, there's not many, if any,
Stink
other
bugs?
than him.
Stink bugs.
Yeah, stink bugs. Yeah.
They're just not on the same
It's just
level.
like poison, but for the nose.
Charlie Boatman one time trapped a skunk and went out to go kill it and shot it in its stink sack and
No, dude,
yeah.
this might have been
Stink
one of the
sack.
dumbest attempts I made to take care of a skunk that we had trapped. Dad was like, go get a tarp, go get a hose, back the car up as close as you can, lay the tarp over the cage, put the hose like it was like a wide mouth nose that could fit over an exhaust, attach it to the exhaust, put it where it close as close as you can get to the skunk, turn on the car and wait 10 minutes. I waited for like an hour and a half. That skunk was awake and alive the whole time, and eventually he was like, all right, I'll take care of it, and got his gun and took care of it. But like, that's got to be one of the dumbest things I've ever done to try and take care of a caught animal. So.
You said awake, unalive the whole time.
Huh?
You said awake, unalive the whole time.
Awake, unalive?
Was it dead or not?
Oh, he was alive.
He was alive the whole time.
Alive the whole time.
Yeah, I thought you said unalive the whole time.
No. I meant awake.
Like he was dead.
No, he was awake the whole time. Oh, dude, if he was dead the whole time, that'd be dumb. So, yeah, that's.
I mean, I did trap one right behind the barn here, and I just let him freeze to death.
What?
Yeah, what? That was like, you can shoot it, or you can just leave him out there for a couple of days.
And he just froze and starved to death.
Oh, he probably definitely froze to death before, because it was a really
cold.
cold winter that year.
All right,
Are we
that's
tapped out?
dark.
No,
That's a
we got
dark way to
story-
end.
We got more stories or what?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a good amount of
It's
stories.
a good round. I mean, we don't have to blow our whole load in 1 year,
I
man.
didn't tell much of mine, but
That's
Sorry.
okay.
I can't even think of any of mine.
Apparently, I was unlocking a lot of memories for you guys. A lot of my trauma.
Yeah, your trauma's pretty.
I remember one year. After we went to, this was my 7th grade year. We went to Indy Nationals, and we came back, and a bunch of the wrestlers had to. We got in late, and they had to stay in the barn or whatever, and we did not go to bed. We just instead stayed up all night and fucking had UFC fights without punches. Basically grapple. We just grappled.
Grappled.
and,
Yeah. That's crazy. This reminded me
That was
of.
so fun.
This reminded me of Reese and his teammates from St. James, from his class. They were all out here. I don't remember what they were out here for, and they decided to play arrow roulette. Do you remember doing this?
Yeah.
Oh,
That was my freshman year in
shit.
school. Dude, and it's
Why wasn't
crazy.
I
You know, I don't know, but like I think about that time, and I think about who I was as a person. I was pretty like reserved, and like I was in control. But I remember that night, just something coming over me, and I just kind of like just went wild that night, and just started throwing arrows at these kids. And I speared Andrew
in the back.
with an arrow.
I remember that. He
broke
was-
skin?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
bled. Yep.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
I was just laughing maniacally. and Ben,
What time of the year was this?
that was probably the fall,
Yeah,
you know.
it was either the fall or the
When we
spring.
were, or the spring, yeah, it could have been. I don't know. I think the first
Was
time
this
we all
before
had
the
hung
feet
out.
and wood chippers incident?
I don't know. I mean, that was in the winter. Why? Don't bring that up.
I love that story.
We don't need to talk about
I
that.
won't tell that story today, but I will one day.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That, and then
Everyone is safe, by the way. No one's
no
feet
one's-
was in wood chippers.
no one. So I also thought about like, I can't remember how it happened. Oh no, yeah, it was you and Steve had gotten on the roof of the barn.
No, well, maybe Steve and Tyler. Maybe me too. I don't know.
So this was when the Hensleys lived with us.
This is when the Hensleys were living with
I
us,
forgot
and that
about that.
that was a great time when they
Yep.
lived here.
Yep. So
For all of us
Yeah.
except for our mom.
Mom hated it. Because I hated it because you guys would get in trouble and Dad would come up to Madison and just yell at me for whatever reason. I was like, dude, I'm not even there. He's like, it's your. I'm like, what? How me?
you set
What?
the standard.
I guess something. You guys almost burnt down the whole backyard. And
Dude, hang
dude,
on.
I thought I was gonna die that night because of you guys. I was so mad at you.
My fault.
No,
I didn't set anything on fire. I just didn't stop them.
So we had one year we had a bunch of excess fireworks, and
It started off like pretty, tame. We were just shooting Roman candles at each other.
well, yeah,
Sort of tame.
and it was funny because that year at 4th of July,
And Tyler, man, he had it out for you.
dude, Tyler wanted to kill me, but that's okay.
And really, for no reason other than he just
whatever.
really didn't. I don't know what it was.
Dude,
You
he
didn't like him because Sammy beat him in middle school.
Maybe that's what it
wrestling.
was.
Definitely what it
I'm
is.
telling you, that's what it was.
That's
Damn,
that's
he
a
held
crazy
on.
grudge
He
to hold.
held that for a long time.
I
man.
don't believe it. I don't believe it, but maybe.
It
But
was embarrassing for him. I'm telling you.
I know. I'm sure it was very embarrassing for him.
wait, why is it? Hang on, why is it that embarrassing to lose to me?
Well, at that
Dude,
juncture,
he had a lot of
Sam,
success as a
I
kid.
guess
and
you're right.
Yeah,
He
and
beat me
also-
like probably the
Oh,
year
yeah.
before.
That's right. I forgot. I
Or
forgot
2
I
years
have.
before that.
I have that. I can hold that over Reese for the rest of my life.
Yeah, Reese
true.
has some over me. It's all right.
You have
Yeah.
him overrun.
Matt Malcolm.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot that.
Um.
But I will pin you guys so fast. So,
So we had excess fireworks, but also that year at the 4th of July, Zach Hensley, he was like, "Light this mortar." I'm like, "It's in your hand." He said, "Light it, pussy." So I lit it, and then he said, "Fuck you, Sammy," and threw it as far as he could. I was like, it was
God.
supposed to go up in the air, dude, and it just exploded on the ground.
He did. He just had like He just said the weirdest stuff sometimes, dude.
Zach was awesome.
It's just like weird anger, just like out of nowhere.
It was awesome.
He
It
would
was
just
so
like
funny.
kick Andy Muehlberger for no reason,
I just
dude.
remember. You remember had St. James practice? He was just like, "I cannot wait till I turn 18, Ryan. I'm just gonna whoop your ass."
That's
What
crazy,
the
dude. This guy, Zach would come to practice, and so this was my sophomore year. He was a senior, and I was his wrestling practice. I was his partner of choice, which was not this was a curse. And he would get very mad at these other two guys in the room who were kind of just screwing off. And I would literally like there was one time where we were like tied up, and I saw his free hand go from just like relaxed to a fist, and I said, "Oh shit!" And like I think for the last 2 months of the season, I was his partner every single day. It was a little bit of trade-off before where it was just like it was either me or it was Clay, but eventually it was just me, and probably the reason I got a lot better that year.
He
but,
says you made him a lot better that year. That's what he always says.
well, hey,
That's pretty cool.
that's insane considering I always got told that I was one of the worst practice partners by everybody.
I bring it up all the time that he used to kind of beat on you in practice, and he goes, "Sammy made me better that year."
Maybe
That's
it's
what he always says.
maybe it's because
Did he say I made him better ever?
I don't know. I never bring up you.
No,
I mean, I think it's a given.
I don't know.
Probably though, right? Okay. Well, but so we need to get to the story of where they burned down the backyard. So we had the 4th of July, and then we have leftover fireworks because we pretty much always do. And the Hensleys are at our house because they're living with us.
So are the two Jacks.
Steven's here. I don't know if Andrew's here. I don't think Andrew's here.
Just Steven, because him and Tyler were butt buddies for a little while.
Tyler, well, everybody was shooting each other with Roman candles, and then Tyler ran me off the property, called me pussy, and then went back. And so after that point, I was like, I'm going inside. I'm done with this. And so I'm just sitting there in the living room watching TV. This is my perspective of the incident, right? And eventually, the Hensley's dad comes in through the back door, and which is right behind the couch in the kitchen, and he's like, Sammy, where's your mom? And I was like, why? And he's like, the fucking idiots burned down the backyard. And I look out the window, everything's on fire. So what we had,
everything's on fire.
What we had, so we have the house at like close to the front of the property, and then a little bit further back is the barn, and then way further back is a pond, and right next to it is a pile of things that burn, right? We call it the bonfire. And
it was especially dry that summer.
It was super dry. And what they had done is they had gone all the way back there, and you put them
okay,
mortar?
all right.
Yeah, pick it up.
Some mattresses.
So ground zero. We're down there by the pond, and here's what we were. Nothing was lit on fire at this point, but at the same time, I'm over with Zach, and he lights a mortar off. He'd already done this a couple of times, as you alluded to. He lights it off, and this time, dude, he holds it in his hand, and I'm like, when is he gonna throw this thing? And finally, it shoots off in his hand, like, that initial, and then he throws it. So he burns the shit out of his hand. I spin around behind, and I see Tyler and Steven had put a mortar in a mattress or a box spring, and it shot off and exploded, and immediately, dude, everything went up into flames so fast. So, dude, I mean, it was crazy. And then we just panicked and drove the CRV back to the house. Denny is running out, and he's like, "Move, you motherfucker! You gotta be shitting me!" I didn't know what to say. But we got some buckets, and 4 hours later, we got the fire out.
I think they burned, I don't know, an acre and a half.
And Zach was like, "Whatever you do, don't tell." He's like, "You tell my dad and your dad that I burned my hand putting the fire out." Because, dude, his hand was fucked up for a while.
That's why I thought that he had burned his hand putting the fire, because that's what you said. You held to your story like a true friend.
Well, of course.
Dude, I remember going back there, and at some point I saw like just running back and forth with buckets to the pond, or to, I don't know. And then there was like a hose that you guys were trying to hook up all the way back there. And you guys were all just so tired from running around all over the place.
That was crazy. I mean, the last thing I really wanted, me personally, was to have to call the fire department. I really did not want that.
Oh yeah, but that did have to happen eventually. Not for that one, but for another one. Our mom burnt the backyard down.
Yeah, so we're all human.
I remember.
No. Tyler and Steven royally messed up.
Yeah, Steven was no longer allowed at the house after that.
Because they took our lawnmower and were doing donuts with it, because it's a zero-turn lawnmower. But they did it with the blades running and in our neighbor's yard. And so you just saw these crop circles in our neighbor's yard, and they came over, and I was like, what happened? It's like, well, figured out the truth. So.
Yep, and they shot arrows into the barn and jumped and put a dent in a trailer. And
Yep.
All right. Yeah. That's enough for now.
That's probably enough. Okay. Tune in next week. We will not be back at the barn. We will be back in our usual podcasting studios at our various houses in different states, spread across the country.
Give us some feedback.
But hey, give us some feedback. I hope the video worked for this whole thing.
Shout out Aiden Johnson.
It might have frozen. So we'll see.
Aiden Johnson.
Yeah, hey,
he's listened to every single episode. That's what he told us when we saw him at the Stampede.
Let's get him some merch.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
We'll get you some merch,
we don't have merch yet.
Merry Christmas. We're getting you some though.
Thank you for
made
listening.
Specifically for you, Aiden.
Thank you for listening.
Because you're round.
Hope you have a good day. Thank you. Goodbye.
What'd you say?
I called Aiden bad.
That's nice for our #1 fan.